Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Keslar from Keslar Insurance, and I'm here today on behalf of Cheers for Charity New Hampshire again. And I have the privilege of doing this, as always, with my dear friend, JoAnn. Hey, JoAnn.
Lisa. Hello. Yeah, my name is JoAnn Burchuk. I'm with Lighthouse Physical Therapy and also Cheers for Charity. And today we are very happy to welcome a new guest. We have Jeri from ElderPet. And Jeri, please introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about your organization.
Okay, my name's Jeri Zezula. I'm one of the founders, and I'm currently treasurer and service coordinator for ElderPet. I kind of sort of like an administrator. We're all volunteers, so we don't have official titles. So I kind of do all the legwork. So what ElderPet is, we have two branches. One branch is that we are a community partner of a national therapy animal program known as Pet Partners. So we do handler classes, and that's for the owners of the animals, prospective therapy animals. And we also do team evaluations because these are people that go to nursing homes, hospitals, libraries, health centers with their pets to bring joy and comfort to people in lots of different ways. So that's one of our arms. We don't need any fundraising or funds for that because it kind of pays for itself because we're part of a national organization. So we just charge cost, and then the owners pay their own registration fees and that type of stuff. But we're a resource for that, and we have an instructor and two evaluators in our group that do that. We also have our service branch. It's community services related to pets. And our target audiences are low-income senior citizens with pets and people with disabilities that are low income that have pets. And we started with a loan program for unexpected veterinary care, not routine things like spays and neuters. That's up to the responsible pet owner to cover those costs. It's when things are unexpected. So we started this in 2010, and we got a couple of grants to give us the seed money so we'd have the money to loan out. And we have basically the owner calls us, gives us a story about what their income is, what's going on. They have to have seen their veterinarian to know what the problem is and give us an estimate. And the way that it works, if they need to receive our assistance, we pay the veterinarian, and then they pay us back at the amount that they can afford every month until the balance is paid. We do have caps on it. Obviously, we can't give out lots of money for particular things, but we've helped a lot of people with older animals that need things like dentals, need diagnostic work to find out what's going on, those types of things. Sometimes it's an ear infection, and if you're on a fixed income, something like that can really throw off your budget for the month, or more than that in some cases. So we've been doing that, as I said, since 2010. I did looked at some of the stats before we got on today, and we've actually given out 240 grants and the loans, and over nearly $90,000 worth. And this year we've given out almost $10,000 because the request amounts have gotten higher over the years. So yeah, the costs of what's going on at the other end have gotten higher. We also distribute pet food to the same qualified individuals. We primarily want to serve people that can't get out because there's a lot of pet food distribution points now. There are a lot of the human food pantries give out pet food. Most of the shelters have pet food pantries. And there's other places that they can get the pet food. But so we kind of service the people that are shut-ins and actually have volunteers that will deliver pet food to them on a monthly basis. We actually had that going on first because the program actually started as a student project at UNH back in the 80s. So we did the pet food first because we got donations for that and distributed it. And then when we became a nonprofit in 2004, we started looking into the other ways to serve the community. So they've both been very successful. And long before COVID, and when the economy was a lot better, we actually started getting more money than we expected from donations. And that's entirely what we do now is donations. And so we decided to start another program called Pet Medication Assistance. And this is for animals that have chronic diseases that need to be on a medication probably for life or a prescription diet to keep them healthy. A lot of times they're older animals to begin with. So again, the same client base, low-income seniors and people with disabilities. If they meet the qualifications, we will provide the cost of the medication in one of two ways, either pay the veterinary clinic, or if they're getting it through a pharmacy or Chewy or something, they have to pay for it and then we reimburse them. So what this does, they also have to assure us that they have the financial resources to get that animal in for required rechecks, lab work, things like that, because we're only covering the medication in that case. We're not giving them loans for the other stuff. So it helps them considerably. And it helps the pets because, if they can't afford the medication, then they don't give it. And then the pets continue to be ill or uncomfortable or have to keep going back in for the same problem. So we've seen a lot of success with that. And we've done this now with 64 pets in total. And I've actually given out the equivalent of $15,000 in medications so far this year. So there's definitely a need.
Well, and the thing is, the elderly and disabled, especially if they're homebound, having a pet with them is so therapeutic.
Oh yeah.
And
it's their life.
It takes another stress away. They can have
does.
their beloved pet and not have to worry about, if they need medications or, food.
Exactly.
Oh, what a wonderful program.
So it's working really well. We're kind of at a crossroads now. As you know, what's going on with the economy, we're going to get more requests, but our donations are down because of COVID and the economy. So it's like we want to expand our services, but we need to get more funds in there to increase our stockpile to be able to do that. So we're starting to look at some creative ways. So we were really excited when we had a chance to do this. Hopes that people understand.
Do you guys have any particular fundraisers that you do, or any way that you're currently, getting the word out there to people?
Yeah, well, we've been lucky in that we are getting noticed by people that understand our mission, and we get some funding through charitable platforms that serve corporations, and it's the corporation matches the employee donations. So we've been getting some of that. We also, at holiday times, we get lots of donations of actual pet food. Companies will do pet food drives for us. And we've in the past sometimes do the charitable gaming through New Hampshire, but that's been up and down with COVID and that type of thing. So we haven't done a lot of big fundraisers. We're starting to look at using Facebook more and some of the giving platforms and do some of that. But again, we're all volunteer, and there's a certain skill level and that type of thing that that we need. We're also looking at going back to grants. We had hoped that we'd get those startup grants and not have to do that anymore. But we're starting to look at those things. So we're looking for probably volunteers that are willing to help out with that, understand our mission without stepping on the toes of all the other charitable organizations that
I
need
know.
funds right now. I mean, it's everywhere, and all the animal oriented organizations need funds. So, we're all looking at the same pool.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that dilemma. And like, we've been so blown away by how many charities there are in the state of New Hampshire, just in the Seacoast.
I know.
That definitely makes it more challenging. I have one question about the pet program also. The volunteers that go in, once they get their pet certified and all approved, that's all volunteer work, right?
It's all volunteer. Yeah, which is why we can't make any money off of that. It's because the national organization's a nonprofit. We're a nonprofit. So it's all just goes back into the program. And so, yes, it's all volunteer. We don't charge for anything. Once the team is officially registered, we try to provide them with what we know of local facilities. On our website, we have a facility registration process. So if they're looking for teams, they can register with us, and we let all our teams know so that they can choose a place that fits them, because every team is different. And then they basically find their niche and go out and do their own thing. We help them if they need it, counsel. We have a lot of people. They're considered our volunteers as well, so they'll all help each other. We always need, if somebody needs a dog fix, we do evaluations about 6 times a year, team evaluations, and that's a day where we have people and their pets come in and go through different scenarios and be evaluated on their suitability to be therapy teams. So we always need volunteers for that, be part of the crowd. Pretend you're having a fight with somebody and how the animal reacts, and use medical equipment, and walk around and make distractions and those kinds of things. So if anybody doesn't have a pet and wants to volunteer for that, it's a lot of fun, because you get to see 12 different teams in a day, and they're all different, all have different strengths and weaknesses.
That's great. So a question for you, Jeri. What community do you serve? Like, how far out do you go? Where,
We serve Seacoast, Rockingham, and pretty much all of Stratford County, with a little trickle over into Maine if they have a New Hampshire veterinarian, and a lot of them do. So, when it comes to the loans and the pet medications, if they're using a New Hampshire veterinarian and they live in Maine, we'll help them out too. But we try to stick to New Hampshire residents as much as possible. And it's primarily the Seacoast area of Rockingham County. I don't get over to Derry and those kinds of areas that much, but so we cover quite an area.
And what kind of animals?
Well, the ones that we service, most of our clients have dogs and cats. As far as the therapy animal program, it's primarily dogs, cats, but we do get bunnies. We get, that's one reason that we go with pet partners. We've had horses, mini horses, birds over the years, llamas, alpacas, and they will register different teams. So we get a lot of those for the therapy animal program. Not a lot, but occasionally get those for the therapy animal program. Guinea pigs, things like that.
You don't like snakes or reptiles?
No reptiles. Nope. Nope. That would scare too many people.
I want a llama to come as a therapy animal. I
know, right?
Terrible. That's got to make you smile, right?
It does. It really does. Yeah.
Well, there used to be a goat fun. That the guy had around Dover area.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just
Just
Never
goat
know.
yoga, right? Like anything.
Yeah,
Animals make
Right.
people happy.
exactly. So,
And how long have you been involved, Jeri?
as I said, I'm one of the founders, and I'm a former UNH professor. So that's how it got started in my program. I taught at the Thompson School, and we had a small animal care program. And we actually started in the 1980s doing what was called pet therapy at that time with shelter animals. And then as things changed, as rabies became endemic in the area, we felt that that was way too much of a risk. So we switched to Pet Partners and went with them because they carry insurance and they're much more standardized than we were. And the students enjoyed that so much, and they got involved with senior citizens through going to nursing homes and so on. They're the ones that started the pet food donation program. We were helping out, they were helping out seniors and giving rides and things like that, and realized that a lot of seniors didn't have enough pet food. They were feeding human food to their pets because they could get that easier with help, Meals on Wheels and things like that. So they started the program, and we actually used surplus from the animal shelters at that time. We'd go over to the shelters and pick up their surplus, but that's non-existent now. And we try to give the pets the same food that they've been on for for a long time. So we try not to switch foods if we can.
That's fantastic. I can just see making, especially as you, for all of us, actually, it doesn't matter if you're age, but even as you're older, sometimes your pet is your best companion, right?
Oh yeah, it's your reason to get up in the morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
And get outside and walk
develop
if
a
you have dog.
routine and socialize if that's the
Yeah.
case. Yeah.
And those animals need that love, right? It's a perfect.
They do.
partnership.
They do. And it hurts if they can't afford to give them the care they need. They realize it, and they're at wit's end in some cases. And we're dealing with pretty low income. I mean, they don't have checking accounts. They don't have credit cards. Most of the veterinary clinics have Care Credit and Wells Fargo and Scratch Pay. They don't qualify for any of those. So they really do appreciate that they can get something through us.
And do they hear about it mostly through the veterinarian clinics?
And again, we have to, once we get our funding more stable, we have to re-advertise, but we have advertised through all the social service agencies in the area. All the towns know about us. Most of the area vets know about us, although we have to talk to the owners. We don't, I don't deal directly with the vets except for payment purposes. I have to talk to the owners and know where their head is. Yeah. And a lot of word of mouth when that comes out. So word's getting out there, but there's turnovers and we need to re-advertise and get up there. I don't know if you're aware, but there's a community group that actually advertises all the nonprofits in the area, especially with the seniors. It's out of the Portsmouth Community Center, but they're a good network. I forget what it's called now, but they have things like this where you go in and introduce yourself, so that we do a lot of network to network. The social workers in our area know about it. BIAS, the Board of Elderly and Human Services, know about us. So we get a lot of referrals from them as well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. This is wonderful. I wasn't as familiar with you all, and I'm so inspired listening to the difference you make in both the people's lives and the animals' lives, right? Like you're making an impact multiple ways. Yeah,
we're trying to do that. And so far we've been able to keep our head above water, but it gets a little touchy.
Yeah.
So
wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here. So if people want to learn more, what's the best way for them to do so?
We have a very educational website. They have to understand they're going to do a lot of reading, but it's at elderpet.org. And it talks about all our different services and has a lot of resources on there for pet owners and all our applications and that type of thing. We also have a Facebook page. Sometimes I will put educational things up there. A lot of it's just cute things about animals that people want to see. So, and we're hoping to use that more as a highlighter and to use it more for fundraising. So we're working on that right now. And at the bottom of every one of our web pages, it has my phone number and an email address, so they can always contact us that way.
Fantastic.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been really great to hear all about ElderPet.
Okay. Any more questions?
This is a great start. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay.
It's been a blast.
Super.
Thanks.
Okay.